Hello, Wild Wisdom Warriors. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everyone. We are back. We are back with Zeus Caesar for more journaling today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We're going to start today an interesting topic, everyone. So thank you so much for joining me. Today is December 18th of 2019. So I'm going to be talking more about, hi, Pavel. Thanks for joining us. Someone got a haircut. Look at all of this beauty over here. Right? We have a lot going on here. So I'm talking about neighbors and stuff like that, making a lot of noise. But Caesar is here. We're going to talk about 2020 vision, everyone. So welcome to my journal, everyone. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to be talking today about, actually, let me start with tea. And then I'll get into the topic, right, Cis? Okay, you said it. You good? You good? You good to go? Relax? Okay. No. Okay, relax. Go spatki. Okay. Spatki means go sleep. All right, so 2020 vision. Here I come with my... What is that? What is this? Crystal ball. I'm going to look into the crystal ball for 2020 vision. All right. So you guys, I'm going to be drinking tea today since media is my cup of tea. So I'm going to be talking about the propaganda machine. But before I do that, I'm going to just show you what I'm going to be drinking. This is honey. Okay. So this is honey. Just pure honey. But because I'm drinking tea with honey, and I just made the tea not long ago, you can't put honey immediately because then if the water's too hot, the boiling tea will, some of the properties of honey will be destroyed with too hot of a water. So when you drink tea, so like I had this and sit there for a little bit before I put tea. So I just put it in here because I am running late. All right. So, but now it's ready to go. So, tea, Wulong tea. And as you guys can tell, I'm coughing. I need some tea. I need some tea. All right. So, okay. Let's get to it. Can you guys read the title? I'm not sure, but what I'm going to be talking about what happens when puppet masters are blind on all five eyes? What happens in the puppet circus then? So this is kind of my question for the crystal ball. All right, you guys. So that's my question today. I'm going to have a little bit of fun, you guys. It's holiday season here, and so we're having a lot of fun. A lot of celebrations, like with family and friends, you guys. So it's for those of you that don't celebrate Christmas or have the issues with what's writing that holiday, it's just tea time. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for joining me, Deanne. Thank you. And Caesar says hi, right, Cez? Right. Say hi. Hi, Diane. All right, you guys. So Wow, we're going in 2020, and what a beautiful, beautiful time we're experiencing. And so for those of you guys that follow me for a long time and on here on YouTube, so apparently I'm still here, so it's all great. I did what I could to just, keep my channel. So thank you for those of you that suggested that I go ahead and do change my settings. Make sure that I do what necessary. So thank you for reminding me. Those of you that did in the comments, thank you guys. So it's great to be back again with you and talk about 2020 and what will happen and the visions and all this clarity that we're going to be gaining and how we can then apply this clarity to hold people accountable. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. And like I said, my cup of tea was always media. So here we go, media. Ready or not, I'm going to be decoding media and what's going on. Because what is Puppet Circus? What happens in Puppet Circus all around? This is where clowns perform their duties, right? And so in my last video or my last journal, I talk about 2020 and how the media will become visible fully because it's a full vision. There is no blinders. We're not going to have blinders anymore on the collective level. Who's who? As simple as that, you guys. It's just who is who. You'll know who is who without a doubt, without any, unless you are one of those people that's struggling to survive for some source of energy. Unless you're one of those, then I'm sorry, but you go on space dust. And that's just what it is. So I'm going to talk about what happens in this. So this circus, you guys, and it always been, and now, like I said, things are not as they seem at all, especially in alternative media. And it's like I revealed that the last time that it was funny because the puppet masters, are more in alternative media that what you see in mainstream media it's puppets, just it's a talking heads. I used to call them talking heads. So I'm not going to be talking about today so much in the focusing on what's going to be happening with the puppets. Puppets are puppets, and that's why you guys will see that they're online. I will not really engage in too much of investigating puppets. I never did. I've talked to a lot of puppets because I needed to, like I said, to do certain things to in that time as a cleanup crew, and like I said, or the Earth agent, or working for Earth or her intelligence agency. It's like I said. So here's to that. It was a lot of fun. So I'm not going to be talking about puppets and what's going to be happening to puppets, although you can see, but what's going to happen is we've already seen what puppets do, how they act. They're pretty much visible on the collective level, at least here in the West, in America. Okay. So at least here, I think on the collective level, there is a certain awareness, which is that 100 monkey effect, or whatever you want to call it, that takes place with the collective human consciousness. It doesn't even have to be 50%. It's a lot less, just like what I was talking about in my original very original graph that I talked about, that somewhere close to 15% of population that peak for healing, once about 15% of collective human consciousness reaches the point, this is the peak time, then that for that snowball that I talked about in the past. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Yeah, it's been a few days, but I'm back. I'm still here. So what happens is you will see that snowball, it just goes rolling down, and it's just so this is when that peak. And then what I've talked about in 2014, and then I said, okay, and from that, and this is what I talked about, the vision for 2017 was that this was that time when it was the marker, like I talk about in that graph. I've put in there all the markers throughout this quickening period that we're going through. And so in that, there was a marker. 2017 was a marker to where it's going to get to that peak of close to 15% of collective human consciousness awareness. When it reaches that point, and then actually I don't have the videos available for you to watch, but in my original videos on mechanics of time, or quantum mechanics, I guess, because that's quantum mechanics is time mechanics. So that's one and the same thing. So in those videos, I talked about the peak of collective, and I did give the math of how that operates and all of that stuff. So but we have reached that point in 2017. And I think for those of you, and this is why I said, you guys, go ahead and listen to those predictions of mine from the past, and, judge for yourself, see it for yourself. I don't like using word judge. Just compare, see how you feel about what I said then. Is that something that we have lived through after 2017? And so now this 3-year period, and so now we come into 2020, right? And so and we came into 2020, and now there is a full vision, sort of a full vision, to where there really is no no hiding, right? There's no hiding, like I said, who's on whose side. Okay. And so the reason why I want to approach this and look at the puppet circus and the clowns and all of that, but I'm going to look at it from a little bit of a more of a shamanic, I guess, perception, as looking at that and going back. And this is why I'm going back to that time in 2014, because that was a vision, for the future, and those were the markers. But all of my work, for those of you that are new, all of my work is I'm investigating collective human consciousness, because there is a crime that's been committed on that level, on the spiritual level. And so there is a period of quickening on this change of ages, that many traditions and many shamans around the world for a very, very long time have predicted. And now what is happening is the returning of this one tribe, what the natives of Americans refer to as the 13th tribe, which is the tribe of shamans. And that's what it is. And this is what it has to reach, that point. And this is what happens when we And many of you are here. You know that you're here for a very, very specific purpose. And so this is who my videos are for. I make this for the shamans, these videos. I'm sharing my path. So then, and it is for those people that I talked about in that original graph, that we're going to go through our own personal healing, so then we can facilitate through, but because by going through our individual process of this alchemical process of healing ourselves and shedding the non-reality or all the illusions, then we'll be ready to step into cleaning up process or transmuting then all of that on the collective level. And this is why so many of you are here joining me for my journals and watching these shows that I do is for you, so you know that what I speak, it relates to you on your heart level, because this is for the heart, to remind your heart why you're here. Because by talking to you, I remind my heart why I'm here. So, and like I told you the last time, and it was really because it is my main purpose. It was emotional because I'm a warrior and I'm here to stand up for the little ones. And that's just it. And I won't back down. Like Tom Petty. And I won't back down. That's just, it won't happen. So, Deanne, thank you. My heart is remembering little by little. And that's how it is. We can only touch on this frequency of the heart. And that's how we can unite. And then what we can do then is, this is how you know you got activated into this cleanup work. Is when your heart is trembling with compassion and you want to do something about it. And that's the drive force. That's the force of nature, is that compassion. That's the human, angelic. You can call it angelic, because how does it say in New Testament? Like I've given you guys some math, some quantum math last time from Bible, how to add quantum energy through Bible. So this is your Bible code right there. Okay, decode that. Sleepy Joes, decode that. You guys, I'm gonna make fun of Sleepy Joes. But anyway, so back to media and what's media been doing. And like I haven't, my cats been out of the bag. Okay. And they have 9 lives each. So there is no putting the cat back in the bag. Media, including alternative media. And in fact, what I'm here to tell you that, in fact, mainstream media is the weakling, it's the weak side of that propaganda machine. Where the stranglehold is at, drum rolls, dum da da dum, is in alternative media. So some of the puppet masters, you guys, are actually hiding in alternative media under the alternative media cover. Okay? Why do you think how it operates? It's funny because it's all inverted. And what you see is not what it seems. Because behind the scenes, right, is someone who can be sitting there in alternative media, putting their blog out every week or something, or whatever, pretending that they're a media company, right? When in fact, there are a foreign intelligence agency operating, guess what? Unconstitutional. So, how do you think all these people in alternative media are able to operate? And then here I'm not going to go into Googlies, but Googlies, you guys know what that means, the code word for that. The Googlies, I'm going to leave them alone, but they are playing the role too, but they're also foreign and unconstitutional, by the way, in America. And oops, what did just happen, you guys? Oh, the cat's out of the bag. What happened? Someone's religion just became a nationality. What does it mean? What does it really mean? Now, law of the land. The head of the snake is cut off. There is no hierarchy, spiritual hierarchy. So what's been cut off? Spiritual hierarchy. That's what's been cut off. For those of you that can't do that, for the sleepy Joes, I did the math for you. Okay, for the sleepy Joes. Laura P., you said, are you having a hard time trusting many? Yes, because what we had is we have a truth movement that calls itself alternative media, but it's actually an intelligence agency and a foreign intelligence agency operating unconstitutionally, or what, however, I don't have the proper language at all. But that doesn't matter, does it, you guys? So anyway, so the weak, and now what we see, because it's like for the core, like when you see a weed, right? When you see something you need to pull, so when you see that on the top, right, it could be a little thing, but then the root part goes really, really deep, right? And it's a lot easier to just get rid of the top part. Just cut it off. That's your mainstream media. But now, with this vision for future that we have, thanks to our crystal balls that all the shamans around the world for ages been looking into, and so into the Aquarian age and how we can how we're going to manifest it. And this is our evolution process. And so those are human guardians. Those are the shamans through the ages that did this unwritten work, because they work in silence. And so they don't try to trap living energy like many occulted teachings are today. Why are they occulted? Because there's a trapped energy. There's a living energy that is trapped that they're using. And so that's going to be also all become visible in 2020, who is who. So Now, all of that is changing because what I've said, a new age, and for eons, shamans from around the world have been initiating this change for humanity. And the reason it's happening, it's because it was created by us. And so, like I talk about, there is this timeless space, which is that quantum field where all these timelines, everything exists there. And this is at the core who human being is. So look at what have parasites and this infection has done. And this is what I've investigated the crime. And I said, they run it on innocent blood. That's number one. Then they've occulted everything, right? And now everything has to be uprooted. And it said so in the Bible. For who? Who was that written for? Was that Bible? Think about it. Because I'm going to approach from Gnostics. Gnostics didn't write much. Or did they? And it all got stolen and then trapped and all of that, what I talked about. But how did they approach it? Do you guys remember how they approached it? Revelations is not for those that are eternal beings. Who is it for then? I'm going to give you some time. Sleepy Joes, do the math. Who was it written for? It wasn't written for those that have the eternal flame within them. It wasn't written for them. They're the ones who wrote that. For those idiots that's going space dust. So, so what they do, and now, so the army and what they've created, and they've admitted to, and like before, a lot of people have talked about that they give you the truth. They give you the truth, but then they do what they do. But with 2020 energy being here and all of that is being now going into the stage, like I talk about on the collective level, we're on the collective level, we're going to come out of that denial. And this is the peak time now. In 2020, we're coming out of the denial stage on the collective level. And this is when the real, true cleaning up starts. And this is why I always talk about the eternal beings have to be responsible, because the accountability for your reality. So, and we're going to look at what has been paddled in alternative media and how it applies to that control system, because it's a propaganda machine. So mainstream media, 6 corporations own it. Alternative media, when I started to investigate what is happening on alternative media, and so, and a lot of them there, they never really hid what their purpose was in alternative media. They didn't. They really didn't. If you knew how to what to listen for, I guess. I don't know how to explain in any other way. Hi, Teresa. Aloha, Teresa. Hawaii, I love you, babe. Hawaii is so beautiful, the dolphins. So what What happens is when you start uprooting this, the process is already started. And that's why what I'm talking about, what you're going to see, I'm not going to be spending 2020 a lot on the puppets. But what I'm going to be spending a lot of times is what you guys going to see, or is what's going to start coming out in, because I'm going exploring energetically. Right. And so this is literally, I mean, this is just for fun, you guys. I don't look into the ball. This is just for a joke, But when I look into the energy, like there is, when you can see clearly, right? This is when this is the year 2020 will come to, when we come to realize what is truly happening with this propaganda machine, with this puppet show that we have had. And now we're going to see the puppet masters, how, because we have clarity now, we will see how they operate. Okay. And how the propaganda machine runs. And this is what I'm saying, okay, without really saying who is who, but the puppet masters that have 5 eyes, they're all blind on all 5. And all the umbrellas under that 5. Because what was I talking about? When you take off the head of that, what happens to the rest of that? The whole system that depends on control from top to bottom, from top to bottom, from top to bottom. What happens when you cut the string on the puppet? Cut the string on a puppet. What happens? Useless puppets. Well, what happens to useless puppets? They're dazed and confused. Then they can't act on their own. And that's why I say I'm a warrior. And this is for warriors. It's not for the crybabies. Oh, give me megaphone. I'm Alexon. I'm special. Give me megaphone. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Nobody paid attention to me. And I'm so special. That's me doing Alex Jones in his toddler voice with his full diaper. That's the way I see him. That's literally how that whole thing operates. It's literally broken that badly. It's Bethel. It's very Bethel. And very special. Operating unconstitutionally. Whoops. Oops, but things are going to be interesting in 2020. We're going to see who is truly American. So who's truly American? Who truly fights for America? No, none of the Americans, neither the world, will stay blind. So what happens when the puppet masters are blind on all 5 eyes? How can they operate even the puppets that they still have? Can they operate them? And this is where I come in, dancing in the eyes of the storm. This is where I'm dancing, in the eye of the storm. Because what happens to puppets when they're puppet masters can't see shit? They can still sort of operate them on memory and things like that. And this is what I'm talking about. For those of you, you will need to decode what it means. But what you will see is going to be a lot of surprises for those of you guys that think that what truth movement is what you think it is, or what it presents itself to be. When I went to Alfred Weber for an interview on his show, this years ago, he didn't hide it, who he worked for. He didn't hide who his masters were. None of them did hide from me anything. Alfred told his listeners, what about the secret space program, you guys? All of that was projected. They were talking about themselves, right? And all of that, you guys have to understand what he was talking about. And I remember Alfred was really working towards becoming a part of Goyam TV. He worked so hard because that was they told him, this is what you do. And then you climb up into mainstream media. Wasn't that a path? Right? They climbed up that circus show. They climbed up the letters in that circus show. That's what I call that mockingbird umbrella. They're all performing under it. And so each and every one of them. So there isn't one, unless you're an independent journalist or a citizen journalist, that you don't know who they are. But what I'm talking about is that these are the people, and specifically the ones that run specific agendas, and I mentioned few, those are that willingly and knowingly what they've done in alternative media and the kind of agendas they pushed on humanity that is harmful to human consciousness. Everything that they push that is harmful on human consciousness will be visible, known, and they can't hide it. And they can't hide it, you guys. And this is what's going to happen. For people that are unaware, for the 85% of population of the world, this is going to be a difficult year. But for you guys, for all of you guys, I love you so much because it's party time. It is party time, you guys. It is absolutely a party time. So we are going to be seeing things absolutely, but because we know that we've put the work into a deconstruct of this, whatever, I don't know, a bottomless pit of evil that they keep feeding. Yeah, things are gonna be, see, the things are, the masks, like I said, they just have to melt. No matter, I can't tell you in details, but everybody's sort of gonna stand in their truth, because this is what the Aquarian age is all about. We have the vision in 2020 for the future. And so this is going to be the year when the shamanic, or those of us that are what I call cleanup crew, because we have that We are in here, but we're at war. We are warriors, and we're at war in the spiritual war. So you could be somewhere living in the, on the beach somewhere, but you're a warrior in the spiritual world. And so, and this is what happens. And so the as you will see, the puppet masters, will start act really weird, and some of them will probably attempt to run. But because what I tell you guys, the puppet masters are blind right now, then genetically, they're Thpetho. So they can't win. They can't win. God wins. We win. Because we are bringing that energy. And somebody talked about the Christ, right? Above there, I'm not sure. But this is what, if you look at that, the Christ collective, Christ consciousness or whatever, this is ultimately what I was talking about. But this is a true awareness. This is awareness of eternal being part, you being, so meaning that you are the creator being. And so for you, when you know that, there is no propaganda machine that can discourage you, because what happens, like I said, we're fighting spiritual war. So I'm talking about the spiritual war. We're won already, because how can they win when there is evil? They work for evil people. They work for paycheck. These people, like I said, they're genetically are not even compatible to human being that had empowered themselves, standing in their own power with the sword of truth in their hands. Then nothing can hurt you and nothing will stop you, because you have the shield of God, and you have to first have the flame within. And this is what I've been talking about for years, is get the flame going for those that need to facilitate the manifestation of this timeline, of this future timeline, which is Aquarian age, you guys. That's so, I mean, it's I like how it's like the nature, it's correction timeline, and the nature is doing its thing. It's like you can't stop spring coming, because when nature decides it's springtime, it's springtime. So is with this new age and new eon that we're stepping in. We're creating it, because like I said, what everything, we are that creator being in human form. And so you guys, there is a lot of people that have been pushing agenda in new age, in alternative media, that first of all, there is a lot of criminal activities that has to do with money. And so, as I've talked about some of the puppets that there, and like, I've talked about Thomas Williams, right? And being the puppet for that organization of whatever he calls it, but it's one and the same. It's all bullshit, same bullshit. They just give it a different name. But anyway, it's all about money scheme. So they're just puppets, sucking the money, because out of their listeners and all of that stuff. So they're just playing their listeners. So, and that's criminal. Okay, because they're not actually a media or anything. He's not a media or or anything. Oh, that thing, when you guys really see it for what it is. So Thomas Williams is a puppet right now with his strings cut. Okay, so his strings are cut. So that's it. I mean, any news there? Any surprises there? For anybody, not for me. So there's nothing, nothing left there with those puppets. But what we're gonna get into is a lot more. Sorry, guys, itch. A lot more into people behind it and the organizations behind it. And you will see like Sasha Stone organization, right? All of those things that, had a lot of Club Idiots Assembly tentacles in them. So I've talked about that, and they had their own like a revolving door of whistleblowers. Scamalot Productions, together with Goyam TV. This is where the master puppets are created, and so those are not media, but there's a lot more to it. So we're gonna find out, and I don't want to get into much trouble with YouTube, you guys, to giving too much away that I shouldn't be giving away yet. Timing, you guys, divine timing, everything in divine timing. Oh, trust me, I want to tell so much right now here, but as certain things I can't. So this becomes a whole different story, okay? Because harmful to humanity. We're going to look at what's been done and who's been doing willingly and knowingly participating in the lie, pushing different agendas, because this is what I talked about ultimately in my 2017 eclipse, in August 21st of 2017 eclipse prediction, that I talked about what's going to happen in America particularly with this. And so the media purge is the purge of this global intelligence community. So it's not really about media. It's about intelligence. It's information warfare. And this is the spiritual war that manifests in this as a media, as an information for collective human for collective humanity, because this is how humanity is controlled. So this is really what the war is all about. So that's why I pay, you might say that I pay so much attention to what happens in the media, because this is the manifestation of actual spiritual layer of the first. This is the information machine, which on their side, it's the propaganda machine. Okay. And so that propaganda machine is going to be standing naked pretty much in 2020, because 2020 is full on vision. We can't have any blinders. Who is who's on our side and who is not. And we also, like I said, going to have a full on clarity what we're fighting for. So how can those that protect what's at the core, how can they fight? What are they going to fight with? What is their armor to fight? That's why I said that it's already been won. There is nothing to win. These people have Bethel. They're just in asylum. In their own mental asylum. Like I said, the Goyam TV here in my own backyard, have no idea what's going on and what they're participating in. Because like I said, these people have no clue. They think it's just it's a media company they're working for. So a lot of surprises is going to be for like how, but yet at the same time, you guys, it's going to be very, very simple. It's going to be very, very simple. Because like what you guys said, because we operate on the heart frequency, and then for us, we're gonna know without saying, without people needing to explain themselves why they do what they do. There is going to be no more need for that. So this is why the next stage in this healing, in collective healing, is going to be this, next sort of thing, to where it's going to be really painful. It's really going to be painful. And this is why you will see a lot of panic. If anything, panic is going to be big. But you'll also know who's panicking, because they're panicking on the public stage. And because it's media, it's all going to be in public view. And that's why I do this public too. It has to be done this way. And really, so because it's all about the intent, original intent of the creator being. Expos, thank you. I love you guys too so much. Yeah, so chaos. Chaos. Okay, Amy, you said about humanity and AI, what I'm thinking about. Because what they're using AI, Amy. Okay? They're using AI, right? For their benefit, right? They're using it against humanity. And here comes the googlies, right? That I didn't want to go into. But I will eventually go into how googlies and what they registered their God back in 2017, I think. They registered their God, googlies. And so googlies are, well, you guys, 5 blind eyes. You know what that stands for, right? That is a rabbit hole that, talking about chaos, Teresa, because it creates chaos. You will see those agents literally having, and no, not literally, but energetically, and what's going to be coming out of their mouth, what you're going to be reading, those that are aware, that don't have the blinders. And this is why I said you can't have, it's your own attainment. Clarity is your own attainment, is your individual attainment. So I'm not here like those idiots that promise you ascension into oblivion. I'm not here to promise you ascension into oblivion. What I'm telling you here is that you see it for yourself, and this is attainment, and this is why it's an individual process, and only then you can have the clarity on what is happening on the collective level. And it's not just for clarity, it's because what you will be doing is you're not gonna be seeing what is happening on the collective level. What's we gonna have from 2020 and on is what we're gonna see, you guys, you and me, what we're gonna see manifesting in the media, which is an information, meaning the freedom on information, or what's allowed here, what frequency are allowed, what spectrum of truth is running in this reality, or running this reality. And as we are seeing all this, those that have done their job and have the eyes to see and the ear to hear, then the people, the puppets that are still operatable, somehow blind puppet masters still trying to operate puppets around the world right now, right? So, and as they attempt, you will see very clearly that, first of all, the puppet masters will be obvious to you and apparent to you that the puppet masters' 5 eyes are blind. They cannot see anything. Okay? But you will see it. because you've attained the clarity for yourself. And so you will also see so clearly what the puppets are doing and how the puppets are going to be like, oh, looking drunk and all of that stuff and talking nonsense will be coming out of their mouth. But they will be given away, and you can read any energy you can read. You can't deny anything or say, I don't want to see that. As a shaman, you cannot say, I'm just gonna deny, because that's denial. That's denial. You have to attain mastery, self-mastery. That means you can't be in denial of anything what's going on in the collective. So you have to open yourself up. You can't be that love of light, coma thing that some people have been in, and they think it's a good thing to be in the coma, in love and light coma, and not good for collective. You have to. And so what I'm saying is, it's not you're gonna see it, is now you're seeing is your own projection. It's your own reality. You're going to see your reality, so you don't have blinders. You're going to see the truth of it for yourself, so that which is not part of it. So all these people that are there faking it, right, they're going to look so fake to you. And that's why I'm like laughing at them, right? Because they are. And then you know what they're following there. And even like, look at the agenda. And I've talked about, the Goyim TV and their stars of the in that, of that, their new stars, star Jordan Sather out there. Jordan, hi. Aliens. So they're still pushing aliens, aren't they? Back to pushing aliens, right? So they have the agenda of that. And it's not thinking for yourself when Jordan talks about aliens, is it? Where did that information came from? Space program. Who is giving information out there on space program? All the whistleblowers on space program. It's a revolving door into not a media company. So do you see what's happening here? Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Okay. Corey Goody is broken and ripped now. Trash. Throw it away. Here comes Jordan Sather. Aliens! I'm so special. It's aliens. Everything is aliens. Because I was told it was aliens. See? It's like, how did you, but see, if the human being is not a puppet, a human being, like you talk about, and someone saying, well, this is what my reality is. And in my dream time, this is what's going on in the spiritual world. This is what's going on. And why are they projecting aliens that only people that come to them see them? And what is that whole project all about? Who started it? And why? Right? So all those people, and then organizations, right? Look at what organizations they belong to. Look what schools they go to. And all of that. It's all connected. It's all connected. If you think that mainstream media, all of it, think about it. How many stations there are? Mainstream media. and how much airtime they have. If all of it is owned by 6 companies, what do you think is happening in a little alternative media? Like I told you, this is where a lot of puppet masters are hiding behind certain masks in alternative media. And so this is what we're about. And they're committing crime, and literally now committing crime right now because even their presence on air is unconstitutional in some cases. And so, but for now, we're not going to talk about that because that might be too big of a cat out of the bag. But basically, so it's not just national security here. It goes beyond. I mean, there's more than just national security, you guys. So gotta keep my okay. Too many, Laura. Too many. Oh, Teresa, NASA. Ooh, who talks about NASA? Ooh. Our washed up, used up version of Edgar Casey. A special Edgar Casey. David Wilcock. He talks about NASA and Antarctica. You know, those people talk about it like they know. Who told them? Oh, they're whistleblowers. Oh. So what are you going to do, David Wilcock? Again, he's talking about aliens again. Oh, he's going to go fund me so he can pay out aliens again so they don't kill him. Are aliens by any chance work for mafia? I don't know. I think they're mafia. You guys, when you really see the kind of puppets these people are, and they're not very bright. They're not very bright. They can only repeat what's been engraved into their mind. And it's just, it goes. It's like they believe their own lies. It's just, they're psychopaths because they're of a parasitic nature, that they're supporting that agenda because that's the only way they can exist. So yeah, we're definitely have an invasion. And so there is definitely a collective, a start. And I mean, in 2020, oh my God, I'm over an hour. In 2020, what we're going to see is we're going to see this vision so much more clearly around the world, and especially shamans. And like I said, you guys, strengthen yourself. But you know what? This time, it's not for the battle. It's for dancing. So you can dance because we'll dance. We'll dance in 2020. So so I that transparency comes. Yes, Laura, transparency comes. And like I said, with transparency, then the next stage is accountability. And then this is the cleanup crew that's here incarnated on the planetary level. This is what I've talked about, that you can look up, and especially the Native Americans here. And this is what because I walk this land, I sort of talk of their prophecies here, that they talked about the 13th tribe, and this meaning that it's all of the original sort of free, because when you look at the music, you know, the music scale, because that's the all the frequency, because I see humanity on the collective level is like a music. I don't know how else to explain. I don't have it. Don't have the words. There's no words. But yeah, the alien agenda, Sita Galaxy, the alien agenda was seeded by the people that use the AI for that matter, for that, and this is where the AI god came from. And remember Cliff High and his AI? Do you guys remember that? Yeah, that was a test. And Cliff High was a test subject, just like some of them. I've called Lisa Harrison a test subject, right? She's serving Lilu Kool-Aid right now. For those of you that want some alien Kool-Aid, right there, Sita. There you go. Heaven's Gate, 1990, what, 2 or 6, purple blankets and Nike shoes and Kool-Aid. So she is right now selling Lilu Kool-Aid, speaking of aliens, because that's all same agenda. And so that agenda goes back to who is on that train? Laura Eisenhower. So that goes to Eisenhower. So that connects the dots to Eisenhower. Then a SETI wrench. That's another intelligence operation that is blind right now. So you can say that aliens are blind right now. Aliens are blind. Okay, you guys? So that's why that's why I said, like, why did Wilcock and like Coast to Coast, all of those people, with their full diaper now, and why? Because they know, and it's obvious. Go listen to what they're talking about recently. You'll immediately recognize that it's a puppet, right? Who has a master that is blind, or something's up with the puppet master. Okay. Some of the strings you will see, they'll some of the thing they'll try to cut some of the puppet strings once they're too close to be found out. So this is why you'll see they're ratting or being rats on each other, right? And suing each other and all of that stuff, and fighting for the money, and planning to go to FBI and all of that stuff. It's just like such a panicky, they don't know, mama, full diaper, like a toddler on the floor with the full diaper. That's the way I see them. This is exactly what they're screaming, because they don't know what's going on, and it's just they're full of shit. And that's what's going on. But they can't. So you will see people like that something's up, like, look at what's up with Laura Eisenhower. So when you kind of like, with your full vision, with your awareness, and you want to, see what's going on with that energy, look at, go listen, and you get the feel, and you'll understand what's going on. The puppet masters, in chaos, they're blind, and so you'll see a lot of that you'll see a lot of people in alternative media are acting weird. Acting low weird. Yeah, the like sibling rivalry. Darcy, that's funny. Desperate. Yes, they're so desperate, because they're so desperate. They'll be like, oh, but all this, but Egyptians had it all. What about you? What do you have? I want to know what you have. You want to tell me about Egyptian teachings? Not in the living presence. Right? So you'll see those clowns. Here, we're Egyptians. Oh, let me put tattoo over here. Of Isis wings. So everybody thinks that I'm the goddess from the past. Okay. How is that working out for all of those, that want to attach themselves to something else? So why is it that they're so desperate now to attach to something else? Why? Because with the loose strings, a puppet was lost, as I predicted through a movie. And my act 2 was dazed and confused. So there's a stage of dazed and confused in the media, in alternative media, that we're going to see in 2020, because this is what's going on. Puppets cut, strings cut, so dazed and confused. They act dazed and confused. Puppet masters blind. Puppets act dazed and confused. Okay? So I don't need to tell you guys. I don't need to point fingers. I had talked about it. I've talked it in the codes. I've joked about it. I laughed about it. But you guys, nothing with media. What you thought it was, it was not what it seems. It's not what it seems. And this year, that clarity will be attained on collective level. And so this is why I said we're going to celebrate, because the truth is unstoppable. And we're going to celebrate, you guys, because those of us that been in the front lines of the true awakening within self, awakening of that Christ consciousness or the divine human within, the creator being within. For those of us that just been unfolding internally, because that's what the path of healing is. You, then that's your path. You own it. That's your unfoldment, your internal unfoldment. It's your soul unfoldment. And what I call it is like your soul flower that opens up. And that's authentic you. And like so many different flowers. And you can compare them. Like somebody noticed here that it's like rivalry, right, Darcy? And those are the puppets. They have that thing, competition thing. But when you go through this unfoldment of your own soul, you realize that you are like flower. And you're unique and authentic. And that you are the beauty that you think you are, because it's all about you, but it's not selfish, because by doing this on the individual level, then you contribute. This is ultimately what I say about the cleanup crew or the shamanism, and the true healing will bring accountability into manifestation. Because without transparency, you can't bring accountability, and you can't change anything. So now we're gonna have the transparency, and then we will manifest the accountability. And that's why there is judgment. There is judgment that has to take place, because justice has to happen, because that's the reason, ultimately, I said, why the cleanup crew is here. So you guys, I've been here for over an hour, way over an hour, but the vision for 2020 is so incredibly beautiful, because it's like you're gonna start see the flowering of true human potential that will start flowering in the truth will rise and will stand, because you guys, our mission here and the purpose, for those of you that your purpose is so deep and authentic to you, for each and every one of you. But what I want to say is that stay true to that purpose, that it is for you. And for me, that's why I've been talking about media and all of that on collective level, because to me, that's my cup of tea. So I've been true to that. And I try to to stand in my truth and bring you as much information as I can and as simple as I can. But we manifest this timeline, this correction timeline. It is us who's doing it. So you guys create joy in your life, and that will reflect on the collective level, because that's what we hear. We here to be the mirrors. And if you are a shaman and you don't know what you're here to do, just be an energetic mirror. Be that crystal ball that others could look into. And what they can see is the reflection of their own joy within you, because this is what it is, you guys. Joy is so real. And so stay true to your passion and stay true to yourself in 2020, because that's your joy, and you follow that joy, and that's your creative self, and that's your creator being that is within. So stay with the flame. And welcome to Aquarian Age, my dear shamans from around the world. Let's dance in 2020, everyone. Let's dance. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Until next time. Bye, everybody. Caesar Zeus, you want to say something? You want to say something? Oh, you want to say something? Ooh. What's happening? Say bye, Caesar. Say bye. Enjoy dancing in 2020. Da, 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 da. Bye, everybody. Mwah.